Why do you think that is, that getting the good things in life can cause us to suffer more?
I think there's a lot of reasons. Um, the primary one that I talk about in the book is that the human mind seems to simply need some sort of problem to fret
Mm,
about. Um, it's just that's our default state is there needs to be some problem in our life that we're fretting about, and if there is no obvious problem, then our minds kind of create one for us.
mm,
We start envisioning problems where maybe there aren't so many problems, or um, we start exaggerating problems and imagining them to be huge things. It was interesting traveling so much for the first book, and talking to people around the world, because it was um, you can tell a lot about how good a person's life is, or how good a country is, like kind of how good of a place a country is, by hearing them discuss their problems. It's like you talk to somebody in New Zealand and it's like, oh my God, they want to close down this national park and it's a crisis. It's an absolute outrage. And then you talk to a Brazilian and they're like, yeah, my mother just got shot and robbed, and like, but things are okay. And it's you start to see that it's like everybody's the constant is people being upset. People are
mm,
just we're all upset about something all the time, but it's what we're bad at gauging is um, that maybe some things are much it's actually a blessing to be upset about certain things, and that we should be happy that we're upset about certain things. um, so I think that's the big one. And then obviously there's kind of the social media and the news media and everything. I think it's there's a lot of um, there's a lot of incentive for problems to be exaggerated or to be
mm.
blown out of proportion, to drive clicks and attention and things like that. And so I think since most of us can access our perception of the world or perception of our culture through social media these days, or news media, um, we're kind of viewing the world through a funhouse mirror without
Yeah.
realizing it.
When you had that, you know, the troubling time of obviously having depression after writing The Subtle Art and then going into writing Everything is Fucked, how did you get through that?
Honestly, I mean, I kind of wrote my way out of it. Um, Everything is Fucked was the book I needed to read.
Mm,
And the thing about that book too, I'm over a year removed from Everything is Fucked now, so I feel like I can view it a little bit more objectively. Um, it's funny because now there are things that there are definitely flaws that I see with it, but looking back, it's like it was almost therapeutic. Like it's like I needed to write those parts of it,
yeah.
um, just to know that I could. I think with Subtle Art, there was a lot of what was driving kind of my despair was this idea of like, I'm never going to do anything that is this well received ever again. Like, this is kind of, in terms of like external material success, like, I've hit the top of the mountain, and I'm, for the rest of my life, I'm coming down the other side.
And like,
and,
how were
and
you,
that,
like early 30s or something?
yeah, I was 32.
Yeah.
So, kind of like the idea that you peaked at 32 is like, it's a pretty
Yeah.
dark thought. Um, and so for me, there were certain things, the conclusion I came to was like, okay, if I know I'm not going to top this thing, then then I need to just say fuck it, and write whatever I want. And I needed to prove that sort of freedom to myself and to the publisher, and kind of a lot of the pressure that was on myself, that prove that I was still capable of not caving to just trying to follow up with a repeat of the first book or
Mm.
whatever. And so yeah, that's kind of what got me out of it, was showing that, like, okay, you don't have to be controlled by this thing. You don't have to be the same way a lot of people, we tend to let our failures control us or
Mm.
control our perception of ourselves. We don't realize that we let our successes also control us.
Mm.
We can feel imprisoned by our success. And so the second book was very much me like proving that I didn't have to be imprisoned by it. I can still do whatever I want.